Hey guys, my name is Deidre and I am the proprietor of Dreams of the Divine, a shop that provides crystal energetic therapy and various intuitive consultation services. And I am going to be talking today about the solar plexus chakra. And chakras there's a whole lot of information about them, so I'm just going to kind of barely scratch the surface. But the chakras are energy centers or energy portals located at various important glands and nerve centers in the body. And the main ones tend to align with our spinal column. And I've already talked about the root chakra, and that is located at the base of the spine and associated with the adrenal glands. And that chakra is called Muladhara. And yesterday I talked about the sacral chakra, which is located in between your hips and your pelvis, a little below your belly button. That one's associated with the reproductive glands and is known as Svadhisthana. And I love that. That is such a beautiful word. And the third chakra, the solar plexus, is located about a palm's length above your belly button. If you put your hand on your belly button, like right above where your hand is, that area is where the solar plexus chakra is located. It is associated with the pancreas. And Sanskrit name is Manipura, which is also a very beautiful word. And this most commonly associated with the color yellow. Musical note is E, and the element is fire. And I find that telling. The solar plexus, there's a lot of chi there, is actually associated with our general overall state of health. And it is also the seat of our personal power, our willpower, our ambitions, our drives, the ability to take action comes from this chakra. Our self-esteem, self-worth. An over or underactive solar plexus can look like the need to prove your worth by being right all the time, by imposing your will on other people. I think that maybe like more of the emotional control and manipulation kind of may generate from the sacral chakra, but people with really overactive and imbalanced solar plexus chakra tend to be bullies. You know, they tend to be like to put other people down, to feel important, overly arrogant, overly confident. So there is a good and bad side. I tend to associate an underactive solar plexus with just really not feeling good about yourself and kind of hiding out more than projecting that out for other people to deal with. You know, you kind of tend to put up with more than you should. You don't feel worthy of taking action on your dreams. That was actually something that I really didn't talk about in the first two videos, but part of the reason that I think that working to keep all of the chakras balanced and aligned is that if you are trying to do any kind of like real healing and in particular manifestation work, the lower three chakras are so important to that because they are really tied to our physical presence in the world and how well we are able to thrive and be successful on the material plane, because like it or not, we're here, and we got to work with what we have. And having those lower three chakras imbalanced and aligned is really going to help you to work your most positive magic in your life. It's not enough to just, think of these, have these wonderful spiritual revelations and ideas and, and prayers and rituals and all that stuff is great, But if you're not able to take action on any of the truths that you learn or any of the mental healing that you do, if you're not able to align your day-to-day actions with those, then it's really not going to go anywhere. It took me a while to figure out how important it really, really is to be grounded. Everybody wants to focus on the third eye for developing, intuitive gifts and psychic abilities, and that it does play a huge part, and also in changing your mental patterns and everything. But those lower three chakras are really like where you put that into action. I have found that my intuitive gifts are even more enhanced when I am like really grounded and embodied. So it's an important thing if you are trying to manifest success for yourself, if you are trying to get a promotion or a new job, or a new place to live, to find the courage and find a new place to live in a different town, or any kind of major stuff like that you're trying to bring into your life. Healthier emotional boundaries, healthier relationships with other people, like all of that stuff, you're really going to have a hard time doing it if these lower three chakras aren't in line. And with that in mind, the solar plexus, as I said, is related to our ambition and our drive and our ability to take action in our lives. The affirmation associated with the solar is I do. And it's a really important thing to be able to back up your mental affirmations, with physical actions. So, and using crystals to do that just makes it a lot easier. It's entirely possible to work on your chakras, to work on your energetic field without using crystals. But they're a tool. They make it a lot easier, and they're fun, and they're beautiful, and they're magical. So I like to use them. Before I show you guys the crystals that I like to use on my solar and on my clients, I wanted to mention how to use them. It occurs to me, like, I'm talking about all these crystals, and you might say, Deidre, how in the hell what are you talking about? So the easiest way is to actually place the crystal at the chakra. One of my favoriteest practices to do in the mornings is before I go to bed the night before. I will gather my 7 or 8 crystals that I want to use, one for each chakra, one for each color: red, orange, yellow, green, blue, turquoise, indigo, and a white or lavender crystal for the crown. And when I wake up in the morning, just plop a crystal at each of the chakra points and just meditate for a few minutes. And there are all kinds of guided visualizations that you can also do. Another really super easy thing is if you have a piece of jewelry that has the crystal that you are wanting to use, just wear that piece of jewelry that day. Get a pocket stone, and carry it in your pocket or your purse. If you have a good non-toxic crystal and you don't have any pockets and it's small enough, you can put it in your bra. I do that all the time. I really do. I have reached a certain level of do not give a fuckness, and sometimes they're not so small crystals in my bra, and I just have lumpy boobs that day. So depending on how accepting your family and or community at large is, that's totally an option too, if you don't mind looking a little bit silly from time to time. Those are things that you can do. Another meditative practice that you can do is to just put the crystal in your left hand, and you can cover it with your right if you want to, or just hold it in your left hand and close your eyes and just really feel the crystal and set the intention that that stone is going to help you balance that particular chakra. I really prefer to do like the overall balancing a couple of times a week, just because the chakras are all important, You know, every time I learn more about a particular chakra, I think, wow, that is so important. You know, and then I go on to the next one and I learn more. I'm like, God, that is so important. The truth is, they are all important. They are all incredibly necessary for us to be energetically, physically, emotionally, and spiritually healthy. We are made up of lots of different layers and levels. You know, we have the physical, solid level that we can see and feel and all of that. And there are less substantial parts of our anatomy. Humans have auras, we have electromagnetic fields. It's a measurable thing. Chakras are measurable in and of themselves. You know, there have been studies where they were able to locate, like, you know, steady energy fluctuations and emissions at the different points along the spinal column that where the chakras are located. So it is a thing. It is actually measurable. Some stuff isn't, though. Like, I'm not even going to lie about that. And I think that's where a lot of people get lost. I'm just really tired of having to back up everything with scientific proof, because there's just stuff that science can't measure yet. The spectrum of light that we are able to detect and measure is tiny compared to what there actually is out there. So just keeping that in mind, it is totally okay to ignore the sciencey part and just have fun with the magic stuff. But it is nice to know that things, because it is, you know, it's pretty validating to be able to say, well, actually, you know, this is a real thing. If for nobody else than yourself. You know, building that self-confidence and self-validation takes time, so sometimes it is nice to, you know, to be able to have that kind of knowledge to draw upon. Anyway, so that is how easy ways that you can use the crystals. You know, there's some other stuff you can build crystal grids. You can actually do charm bags. You can make gem elixirs, but I'm not going to talk about all of that right now because I want to show you guys some of the common and not so common crystals that you can use to balance and support your solar plexus chakra. And the first one that I have is really easy to find, very common, inexpensive, and this is tiger's eye. And this is another, whoops, damn it all. This is another member of, this has a lot of quartz in it. I don't want to say it's a member of the quartz family, and that may be bullshit that I just told you. I would have to look it up because it's gone out of my head because I'm on camera. But you can see that beautiful golden sheen. This is very good for confidence and self-worth. This is also a good stone to carry if you are needing to negotiate and communicate clearly with other people in a way that everybody leaves happy. So this is good for that. And I love that. Again, that is, if you are healing on a budget, that is definitely a good one to get. Another one that people talk a lot about, it is not quite as inexpensive depending on the quality you get, is pyrite. And this stone actually has a lot of iron in it, and this is a great, you know, I was talking about manifesting and how balancing the lower three chakras helps us to manifest. I think it's funny that some of these crystals that are known to be used for good for the solar plexus are like the premier manifestation crystals. Like pyrite is a huge wealth and prosperity and business manifesting crystal to use. It's got a very like masculine projective energy to it. Really good for self-confidence and taking action. Love that. I also have a pyrite sun. This is not quite as common, but definitely findable. And that's just, you know, kind of a like stalactite formation. It's pretty. All right, and citrine is another commonly known one. This is a citrine from the Congo citrine. This is another one that is used in prosperity and manifesting work for sure. And it's beautiful. And something about citrine, the Congo citrine, I think, is what I have heard to be the most effective for doing prosperity and money work. But really, I think that any citrine, but Congo citrine in particular, especially back in 2020, I collected a lot of it because I kept hearing about it. And, you know, citrine from the Congo is really, a lot of it is going to have, you know, those little abundance crystals growing at the base there. A lot of it is not super attractive. A lot of it kind of tends to look like this. You know, can be darker, can be broken and missing chunks, but notwithstanding, it is still a pretty pricey. Natural citrine is really relatively rare. A lot of what is sold as citrine is actually heated amethyst, and I do not have a piece of that to show you. For a long time, I refused to get any and work with it since I knew that. I thought, well, it's just treated, it doesn't. But as it turns out, that heated amethyst citrine, that baked citrine, is really good for sacral chakra work and for helping you to be like more sociable and more friendly and more lively. It would be a good stone to carry if you're going to a party that you're really not sure you want to go to, but you're going and you want to try and have the best time that you can. Take a piece of that baked citrine with you and see how that goes for you. And the baked citrine is going to be more of the orangey color. Like, this is not some of it, but you're going to find it's going to have like that really kind of artificial orangey color to it. You will see a lot of white in it, you know, as amethyst points. You know, they'll be really dark purple at the top and white at the bottom. Well, if it's baked amethyst, then you'll have an orange top and then a lot of white at the bottom. So natural citrine is going to be pretty uniformly colored all the way through. And then this is celestial citrine from Brazil, and it just has a little bit of a different feel to it. This definitely feels like a little lighter, more airy. The celestial formations are really good for that lightening up for sure. So those are the three main ones that most people know about. Another is honey calcite, and I actually for a long time used this as my sacral crystal because that's what I had when I first started, you know, doing this regularly. I didn't have a whole rainbow of crystals, and my honey calcite was really the prettiest orangey one that I had. It works just fine on the sacral, but it is really good for the solar plexus. Calcite, as I talked about yesterday, is gentle but powerful. I used to avoid the gentle stones because I felt like gentle meant weak sauce, and it totally doesn't. You can be very gentle and still very powerful, and the calcites are just really good at clarifying, you know, and moving stuff on out. So there's that. There's amber, and amber is another one that it's kind of hard to find natural. Most amber, like this is a genuine piece of amber. I have tested it and I believe it to be so. Having said that, this is not like the true prehistoric amber. That stuff is a little bit even harder than this is, and it's a lot more rare, and it's a hell of a lot more expensive. There is some stuff called copal that is similar to amber. It's another like tree resin that has hardened. It's a lot cheaper than amber. I'm not going to say that it doesn't work as well because I haven't used it, but it's just something to keep, but it's a lot more common. And so sometimes sellers, whether they know better or not, will sell copal and call it amber. But most of the true amber that's on the market today, just in general, is going to be more recently formed. As I said, that really old, you know, fossilized amber is just, it's incredible, but it's very cost prohibitive, I think, for most people. So keep an eye out for that. I do have a lovely topaz crystal. You can find champagne or yellow topaz. This is not imperial topaz, but it is topaz. But the imperial topaz is incredibly gorgeous. But again, it's another kind of cost prohibitive stone. I will have some at some point. I just don't right now. But I do have this lovely piece. I think maybe I paid $70 for this on Etsy a couple of years ago, and I do love the you can see just how bright and shiny it is. A good one for the solar plexus, good one for manifesting in general. I also have a couple of smaller pieces that I use as the aforementioned bra crystals, and I love the formations there. The termination of that is just adorable. It looks like a little tiny sparkly lipstick. Oh my god. Oh my goodness. So that's that. I do have some golden healer. I have a little bit of golden healer. I really almost feel like you could use golden healer on any chakra though. But given that the solar plexus is our center for overall health, and I don't know if you guys knew this, but the golden healer, that's actually hematoid quartz. There's a variety called fire quartz that looks like this, only it's red instead of yellow, but they are both hematite in there. And funnily enough, I did read that golden healer is really effective at healing the lungs and the respiratory system, which it surprised me. Because of the yellow color, I really would have thought more like stomach and digestive things. However, yellow is the color associated with the element of air, and given that our lungs are how we take in and utilize the air, perhaps that does make sense. I don't know. What do you think about it? I know a lot of people really love this. This is my first piece though. My first piece that I got. And lastly, I have some rutilated quartz, which I like to use on the solar plexus, but this also is a really good crystal for the crown chakra as well. You can see those threads of golden rutile in there. I've also seen the golden rutile is really what I would use for the solar plexus. There's also rutilated quartz that has, you know, silvery threads, coppery threads. I have a piece that has needles of red epidote in it, and I love that a lot. Wouldn't necessarily use it on the solar plexus, but like this little guy in particular is really good for when I'm doing a balancing on myself. Some of these I don't use on a client. Some of these are just for me. All right, and I will talk now about crystals of different colors, crystals that are not yellow that you can use on the solar plexus, because I love to confuse you all. I mentioned yesterday that, and maybe I mentioned earlier, I've already forgotten, that while we in the West, we tend to associate chakras with colors, it's actually more accurate, energetically speaking, to associate them with different musical notes and sound frequencies. So keeping that in mind, there are crystals that are not yellow that are also really effective for the solar plexus, and one of them is charoite. And I have had this sphere for a good many years, and I was doing a meditation sometime last year, and I kept wanting to put this at my solar plexus, and I was like, why on earth do I want to use charoite? But I did, because it couldn't hurt anything. Using different colors on different places is probably not going to hurt anything. I'm just, do whatever you want to do. This is just kind of the prescribed method that I have been taught. But if you pick up a crystal and feel like holding it to somewhere where you don't think it should go, but you really feel like putting it there, just do it. It obviously needs to do something for you. That's that intuitive response that we're looking to cultivate, right? That's part of our psychic gifts that everybody's so keen to have. But anyhow, so I was really curious about it, and I actually went looking. And I looked in Robert Simmons' The Book of Stones, looked up charoite, and saw that actually it is a prescribed crystal for the solar plexus. It is good at clearing out blockages and energetic junk, apparently. And this is also good for connecting with guides and such. And charoite crystal, good for the solar, even though it's purple. I have found a connection between the solar plexus and the third eye. Yesterday I talked about finding a connection between the sacral and the throat chakras, and I just think that's really interesting. We've got the yellow solar plexus, and then the indigo violet third eye, which is red and blue, and then yellow. So you have all three primary colors. I think that's an interesting connection there, but it makes sense given that the solar plexus is about ambition and willpower and taking action to move forward, and the third eye is where we're able to envision our futures and kind of think about where we want to go. And so it makes sense to me that those two chakras would really need to work together for a healthy sense of purpose and vision for your future. So there may be other purple crystals that could also work on the solar plexus. You are welcome to experiment. I may experiment. I wonder if lepidolite would work there too. Anyhow, so, and then some green crystals, particularly like the more yellow green. I have some prehnite here. I would absolutely use this either on the solar plexus or the heart, or you could place it. There's actually another center right in between those two chakras where you could put it to help bridge the divide between the heart and the solar plexus, helping you to take more heart aligned actions towards your goals. It's important. I was talking about an overactive solar can kind of make you a bully, and you arrogant, make you want to dominate other people, and having a good connection between the solar plexus and the heart can help you to be assertive and dominant without being overpowering and cruel. There's a fine line between confidence and uncaring arrogance, for sure. So maybe not such a fine line. There can be, you know what I mean. So these more yellow-green crystals, I feel like, are really good for, helping keep the solar plexus healthy and heart connected. And on that note, I also have some serpentine. That lovely. This is another one that I kind of avoided getting because I didn't think the color was pretty. And it's so funny because as I continue healing and I begin to feel the importance of the connection of all of these things together, a lot of the crystals that I used to find unattractive, I'm really starting to get into. But this has a wonderful feel, and I have had great results using this as a solar plexus piece. Again, the green stones are related to life and health and growth and prosperity and abundance. But again, it makes sense to me that a green stone like that would work well on the solar, since it is not just the seat of our personal will, but the seat of our overall general health. That's kind of a big deal. So it makes sense to me that a green crystal would work there, particularly a more springy green. Now, on the other side of that, I have another green stone that is absolutely not yellow at all, but I have had fabulous results using this on the solar plexus, and that is malachite. This is a copper carbonate stone, and a lot of the copper stones, as I call them, chrysocolla, azurite, turquoise, chrysocolla in particular, I feel like has that really like mother connection. But malachite is definitely a very solar and masculine stone, copper notwithstanding. I thought with that just glowing color of green that it would be a wonderful heart chakra crystal, and I used it on my heart, but it never really resonated. And then as I learned more about it, when I started using it at the solar plexus, that was when I really began connecting with the stone and feeling it, helping to energetically align my body better. Some people can use it on the heart. You're certainly welcome to if it resonates that way with you, but with its associations with masculinity and the sun, I just really feel it is a solar plexus stone for me. And I was hearing here lately that a lot of people are having moldavite-like experiences with malachite. A lot of people are finding it very intense to work with, and it's bringing about a lot of like sudden and sometimes unwelcome changes that maybe people aren't feeling ready for, which I've never had that experience, but I can feel that it is a really powerful stone, and I love it. I have a whole bowl full of those copper-based stones. Malachite, chrysocolla, shattuckite, azurite. I even have a little bit of dioptase, which we will talk about that tomorrow when I move up to the heart chakra. I'm really looking forward to making that video because I have some really lovely things to show you guys. But that, for now, is my collection of stones and crystals that I like to use at the solar plexus. And then, I had some other ones that I pulled out that are yellow that I was going to talk about. I don't really use them with the solar plexus, but you know what? I'll show them to you anyways because I really like talking about crystals. And I have some septarian here, and this is another one that I avoided. This just looks like a very strong stone. A lot of it that you see doesn't have as much of this yellow. There's more of the gray and the brown and the black, and I see it called dragon's egg. Sometimes you can find geodes of it, and the inside is just like black druzy crystals. It certainly looks like a dragon's egg, but this is one of the most gentle, friendliest feeling stones that I have ever worked with ever. And now I'm embarrassed that I didn't like it before. But the pieces that I have are just wonderfully nurturing, really good to sleep with, really good if someone has hurt your feelings and you're having a hard time, finding your security and maybe feeling kind of alone. And these are really good to help with that. I love the septarian. Again, it's so gentle feeling to me that I just wouldn't use it on my solar plexus. Usually my poor solar plexus gets blocked at the drop of a dime, you guys. I don't know why. It's getting better. It is healing. But for the longest time, I just really didn't feel good about myself. And I definitely took a hit in the chi for many, many years, took many hits, and now I'm healing that. So a lot of times I will use a crystal, that has more of a punch to it, like the malachite, the pyrite. You know, I want to be gentle and affirming, but also I really want to strengthen and support that area. And this is just, you know, like, this is sweet. This is a really sweet stone. This paired with a piece of rose quartz for like a love meditation, it would feel so good. I just know I should record one and then show you guys. And then I have some yellow fluorite, and you know, I thought this is more of a mental stone to me. I mentioned that yellow is the color associated with the element of air, and fluorite to me is one of the most intellectual stones. I have a purple gray piece that I like to use when I'm taking a class and it's crunch time and I really need to remember and retain what I'm learning. I will absolutely use this crystal to help, and it works really well. But I just kind of feel, even though these are yellow, this might be good to use with a purple fluorite in meditation to work on that connection between the solar plexus and the third eye. But I just almost feel maybe a good stone for making plans. But I don't know that I would use it very often, if at all, on somebody's solar plexus in a balancing session. I'm not sure. You know, maybe in a different way, but not as a stone on its own to balance that chakra. Again, unless you feel led to give that a shot. So yeah, so those are some of my yellows that I don't use on the solar. And yeah, so that's what I got for today. I hope you all enjoyed that. If you would like to know more, please feel free to reach out to me. I am working on some classes. I am available for sessions. Love to do balancing and or Reiki sessions. I'm really good at it. I really enjoy it. You know, my clients appear to enjoy it as well. Energy therapy is a really good way. If you are an energy practitioner yourself, it's a really good way of self-care. It's also really good if you're just learning crystal therapy or energy healing. It's really good to get worked on by other practitioners. You know, it helps you like feel it. It's very beneficial in that situation. It's also, if you are trying to develop your own intuitive abilities, getting energy work done, it works wonders for that. If you are just trying to supplement therapy or physical healing that you're already doing, crystals have really helped with my emotional and mental healing. When I was seeing my psychotherapist, my crystals were invaluable to help me process and integrate some of the stuff that we came up with in those sessions. So it really is useful. I would love to help out. Yeah, so feel free to contact me. And again, if you're just curious and you want some pointers, want to know a little more, I'm all about making friends. Would love to meet some of you other lovely people and practitioners. Yeah, so everybody have a good night. Thank you so much if you hung in there this whole freaking time.